Hey everybody, it's Matt and Cheryl with We're in the Rocky.
It's fall, it's that spooky time of year, and it got me thinking that we went to a lot of places this year that were named after the devil.
We went on a road trip to Mount Rushmore and we passed 4 places that were named after the devil. And so it got us thinking, and we started looking it up, and we have been to many other places that were named after the devil. And so we thought that we'd have some fun in this video and cover all the places we've been to with the name devil in it, and maybe a few others with a little more sinister sounding names as well.
And if you live by any devilishly cool places, put them in the comments. We want to hear about other places named after the devil.
For the devil! So our first site is Devil's Kitchen. This is located in northern Utah on what is called the Mount Nebo Loop. Mount Nebo being one of the tallest peaks in the Wasatch Range. And the strange thing about this is it's located in just a normal mountain range, but suddenly there's a little group of red rock formations here. They call it a mini Bryce Canyon. We'll do another video on this Mount Nebo drive. It's a gorgeous drive, and we did it in the fall when the leaves were changing colors. Okay, next up is Devil's Garden. This is located in Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument in Utah. Now, Arches National Park also has a Devil's Garden, so I'm sure there's plenty more Devil's Gardens out there, but this one was really fun for us to play around on. It's located about 12 miles out on a dirt road, but it's one of the more accessible places to get to within Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. And really, it's just a beautiful little place with these strange hoodoos, and you can go climb around and have some fun and explore little caverns and tunnels and things like that.
Next up is Devil's Orchard at Craters of the Moon National Monument in Idaho. This national monument was formed from lava, which makes it look like it was something right out of the underworld.
Craters of the Moon National Monument was established before we ever flew to the moon, and in fact, some of the astronauts on the early Apollo missions to the moon trained here at Craters of the Moon so they could learn to walk on the terrain that they were going to encounter when they got there.
Devil's Slide is actually not too far from our home, and probably my first experience with anything named after the devil. And I have to say, as a kid, whenever we would drive by that, just the weird look of the place and then the name Devil's Slide made me think that there might be some no good things going on by this place.
As with many of the formations on our list, there are more than one. So there's a Devil's Slide near Yellowstone National Park as well. This sits just outside of the park near Gardner, and you can still visit it today. Next up is Devil's Gate. This is located in the middle of Wyoming. Devil's Gate is right along the Oregon Trail. It was a major landmark for the pioneers as they were crossing the Great Plains. Today there are 2 historical sites right next to it, Independence Rock and Martin's Cove.
I camped here as a teen once, and it snowed in June. I would definitely give that place a devil name. Next up is the shockingly strange Devil's Tower. Words cannot describe how weird this formation looks. And on our last trip there, I was shocked to learn that this place has been struck by lightning thousands of times. In fact, that was what I was looking for while I walked around there, was all of the white marks caused by lightning.
It is a major climber's paradise, and one gentleman even parachute landed on top of that thing and was stranded for a week. He earned the nickname Jumpin' George, and we'll cover him in another video. Devil's Tower was featured in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and the campground nearby still shows that movie every night. Next up is the Devil's Bathtub. A quick search on Google Maps shows there are many Devil's Bathtubs, but the one we're talking about is located in the Black Hills in beautiful Spearfish Canyon in South Dakota. It takes a little bit of a hike to get there, but then it's just a fun little spot for kids to play in and slide down a natural rock slide.
I'd say there's nothing devilish about this place. It's just fun.
Up next is Devil's Den at Gettysburg National Park. Again, there are many devil's dens around the country. This one doesn't show up on the map, but it's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So this is where some of the most intense fighting occurred during the Civil War, during the Battle of Gettysburg. On the second day of the battle, artillery and infantry fighting was really vicious here. You would think that the name actually came from all the death that occurred here, but this place actually was called Devil's Den before the Civil War. Local residents believed there was a reptile that lived in the rocks. Hand-to-hand combat occurred here, and then also up there on that little hill called Little Round Top, snipers would fire at people down at Devil's Den. Okay, that's it for the places with the name Devil in the title, but now we're going to move on to some more sinister sounding names, and we're going to start light with the Badlands National Park in South Dakota. You can see from the landscape here why they called it the Badlands.
When YouTube first came out, Matt and I used to watch Travel Bug Robert, and he described this perfectly when he said, "Badlands is beautiful in a desolate sort of way." And our oldest child used to call it Grouchy Town because he could not remember the name of the place.
There are Badlands in South Dakota, and there are also Badlands in North Dakota at Teddy Roosevelt National Park. These ones are much more dramatic and desolate and interesting. Badlands is sort of a general term that's applied to a plateau that is just falling apart on one side.
Our next stop is on the east side of Zion National Park. And the awesome thing about Belly of the Dragon is it is exactly what I think it would look like if a dragon swallowed you whole.
This is just a little man-made tunnel to help water go underneath the highway, and it only takes a minute to walk through it. If you think of the underworld, you think of fire. And up next is Valley of Fire State Park in Nevada. This is a really gorgeous area, but you can see why they call it Valley of Fire. It really does kind of look like it's on fire. Here is kind of a wave. They call this the fire wave, actually.
Valley of Fire is probably my very favorite non-national park park. It is national park views without the crowds. I love it.
This area has been used to shoot quite a few Hollywood movies, including Viva Las Vegas, which includes a race scene with Elvis. It's been used to represent other planets and even prehistory, but to my knowledge has never yet been used to represent the underworld. Up next is Yellowstone National Park, which has been associated with devilish names since Europeans first saw it. The first term given to it was Coulter's Hell, and Jim Bridger referred to it as a place where hell bubbled up. By the time it was created as a national park, it had over 60 locations within the park that included the name Devil. A park employees set about removing the Prince of Darkness from the park in the 1920s, but a few places still retain references. For example, near Mammoth Hot Springs is a place called Devil's Thumb. It's just a little formation that sticks out of the travertine terraces there. On the other side of the park is Dragon's Mouth, so we've been to the Belly of the Dragon in this video, and now we're at Dragon's Mouth near Hayden Valley on the east side of Yellowstone. I love the imagery of the Belly of the Dragon and the Dragon's Mouth. Well, we're talking about hell boiling over. We got the Boiling River here on the north end of the park near Mammoth. This is a wonderful little location where the hot spring water flows down into the Gardner River. The river's too cold to sit in, and the hot spring water is too hot to sit in, but where they meet up forms the perfect temperature. Up next is Hell's Half Acre. Now this actually goes by Midway Geyser Basin. This is a term that was used in the early days because the place just looked so foreboding and desolate. This water here is coming from Excelsior Geyser, and it is flowing into the Firehole River, which was so named because it's a little warmer than the other rivers. This is the Grand Prismatic Spring, which is the third largest hot spring in the world. And this is Excelsior Geyser, which was named the Cauldron in the early days. There were so many other names at Yellowstone named after the devils, such as the Devil's Kitchen, the Devil's Frying Pan, the Devil's Hoof. I think it's kind of funny for a place that is more like heaven to most people nowadays. Okay, we hope you enjoyed that little tour through the underworld. Remember to put in the comments if you have any places near you that are named after Beelzebub. And also, if you liked this video, please click that like button. It really does help us out. And if you want to get more of our videos, click the subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching.